Hey folks, Jason here, Blue Label Bastards Wargaming. I know it's been a couple weeks since I put up a video, but sometimes life gets in the way and you just gotta make do with what you got. And so I finally have some progress. This one a little different. I kind of previewed a bit before my last video when I was doing more 6mm stuff about how I still kind of like tinkering with, excuse me for just a sec. There we go, awkward silence. That's me, Mr. Prepared. Still tinkering with 28mm, and bumping the camera. Hail Caesar. I'll admit that I'm just going to flash this guy up really quick. Haven't had a whole lot of interest in doing the Gar with my Gates of Antares. I think I did a good job on this model, but I'm just having a hard time getting excited about the game. So that's something I need to work on, either pick another faction or something. I'm really happy with how this guy turned out, though. But in the gap, haven't done much with 6mm Hail Caesar, other than get some terrain and stuff in. But I have made some progress on 28mm Hail Caesar, namely a general for my force, my small but slowly growing force. And before I knew much about the Romans, everybody I think recently has kind of watched the movie Gladiator and thought the opening scene was awesome. I now know that that's not at all the way the Romans probably fought. Never mind having a cavalry charge through the woods. Just not a good idea. Anybody that plays Warhammer rolls a lot of ones for dangerous terrain tests. Anyways, irregardless of the reality or realism of that movie, the opening scene was still pretty awesome. When our man led a cavalry charge through the woods. So I've always liked the model that Warlord put out, where it's him and his trusty dog charging through the woods. And so I purchased that a while ago because I just wanted to have a quick, what I thought would be a quick or relatively easy general officer to put together for my force. And I finished it. So here it is. So I don't know what kind of Warlord, I forget what Warlord calls this. But I think people know by now I like to do dioramas. So really happy with this, how this turned out. I think this is still for sale. I think it's a little hard to find. It's not really well advertised on their website anymore. I don't know if it'd be better if I zoom in on this some. Anyways, so I think I got it when the mold was getting a little long in the tooth because there was a lot of flash on it. So it took a little while to clean up, but I'm really happy with the way this came out. Trying to have the horse and rider going through, not the bushes, so the horse doesn't break a leg and throw the rider. The dog, I didn't quite do the same paint scheme, and I'm worried I did a little bit too much overbrushing of the dry brush on it. Anyways, I'm really pleased with how this came out. Yeah, I think people know that I like kind of doing the diorama style versus just mounting it in a small base. But I try to emulate, to a certain degree, the style that character wore in the movie, with a couple different flashes. Kind of pleased with how the horse came out. I think I've always had a hard time highlighting horses. In some ways, it seems very obvious. So I like how this back leg came out. Other parts were okay. But overall, pleased with the model. I did not give it a beard, the rider a beard. The face, I thought, ended up looking, let's see if I can get this to focus. No, that's alright. So I'm not sure if it's supposed to have a beard or not. Just like Russell Crowe, the man, the myth, the legend. And then as I get close up, I cringe at some of the paint goof-ups I made, but this is, you know, supposed to be seen from a couple feet away on the table versus a Golden Demon style. So anyways, very pleased with how this came out. So it's good that my army now has a general. In terms of what I'm going to move on to next, I'm not sure if I want to jump into painting up some 6mm stuff or just kind of keep the momentum on this. So everybody knows, everybody's heard me complain about how much time I take on individual models, and so that's why if I'm going to do a command model, I'm going to take a lot of time anyways, I might as well have it count for something and only have to have one model done, and then just whip up something quick for the dog. But I'm out of kind of command models now. My plan was to have at least 2, I guess you'd call them regiments or separate commands And this guy will ultimately lead a cavalry command, and then had to have a separate general, over-general, in charge with all the infantry, because the Romans, let's face it, were an infantry force. But for now, this will do the job. So I have more cavalry to paint up. I actually have a big cavalry unit, but then I have a force of Numidians, which I think I might go to next. As much as I hate painting horses, I gotta just try to train myself to get through horses quickly. And so I think I've shown these guys before, I'm not sure. But these guys are all done and assembled. I just have to paint them. So a unit of 5 Numidian light cavalry. I might start with these guys next. One of the things, and let me get out a completely different model. It'll relate, it's Warhammer Fantasy. But I think most people would agree that there's very few black models out there. Models of black people, wherever you're from. So I kind of view this as a challenge on how do you paint things when we're normally just painting a bunch of white dudes. So I'm going to bring out a model I painted when I still played Warhammer Fantasy. Put these guys aside. So this, anybody recognizes it? Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Oh, excuse me. And I didn't paint this guy the normal white, painted him black. Just because I had 2 models of the same thing and I wanted to break them up a little bit. So I think I did a good job with the skin tones on this one. I'm going to try to replicate, maybe make it a little bit lighter on those jokers over there. So that'll be the next project. Again, just got to get used to doing it a little bit more quickly. But I think that'd be a nice... That's the only thing I don't really have. I have two infantry units. The Testudo, I've got either 2 sets of small or 1 medium archer unit. I've got 2 sets of skirmishing slingers. I've got a general now. I've got the Scorpion. So this would at least get me a small cavalry unit. And the medians are pretty darn good. So we're going to maybe try with these guys. I'll do a test model or something. So that's what's coming up next. So, yep, poking along. Not much on the Beyond the Gates of Antares front, as I mentioned. 6mm Hail Caesar. I actually decide kind of how I want to jump into this. I might actually pick up a gaming mat for it so I can match the paint schemes versus trying to paint first. And we're going to try to give these guys a try. So, hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's making good progress with their gaming and painting and modeling and dreaming about new armies and hopefully not spending too much money, as I am wont to do. And I will see you guys for the next video. Take it easy.